I only saw like the first 3 or 4 episodes of the new series.
You mean with Matt Smith, the guy with the floppy hair and the tweed jacket and bow tie?
Yeah, the newest one.
Yeah.
I've only seen like probably three episodes. Was it? I don't know. The last one I saw was the Daleks going back into World War II.
A lot of people hated those because
What?
they were big candy-colored Daleks.
Oh,
They looked like IKEA Daleks, and they were also a bit more bulky.
Well, I mean, I didn't care about the designs or anything. I mean, it did kind of look corny. My mom was kind of sitting next, and she was kind of looking at it, and she says, "This looks really stupid. What the hell are you watching?"
Yeah, it's funny.
And it's just like, this is like a bad, like, 60s sci-fi film you're watching.
Well, actually, that's the funny part about it is because that Dalek
and then I
design...
told her, that's the point, Mom. I think that's what they're trying to do.
The thing is that Dalek design was specifically based on the 1965 and 1966 Doctor Who movies. Doctor Who and the Daleks and Invasion Earth 2050 or some 2150 or something like that. It actually was very specifically based on those, which were these big, multicolored, candy-colored Daleks. The only difference is that those fired like fire extinguisher exhausts out of their guns. And the plunger was this like silver like cardboard claw thing. It was kind of silly. A lot of people had a problem with the colors, and it's actually funny how unimposing something can be when you color it like a child's toy. Because previously the Daleks were like all copper and bronze colored, and they looked like they were made out of some funky alien metal, and they're very menacing considering that you're just basically talking about something that's shaped like a pillar with an eye stalk and little arms that barely do anything. All things considered, though, it really comes down to how they present them. And I'm really hoping that they do better in future episodes, because the whole idea is to return the Daleks back to the menace that they used to have back in the 80s, where it was like, yeah, the Doctor was able to keep them at bay, but they were always there as a constant threat to the rest of the universe because they were very dangerous. They were the ultimate racial fascist Nazis, Anything that is different than me is bad, so therefore it must be exterminated. And in many respects, it's one of the ultimate bad guys, And the thing is, during the last 4 years of the modern Doctor Who series, they really just sort of like, every time they built up the Daleks, they built up this huge fleet, millions and billions of Daleks, and they're getting ready to destroy the entire universe, and the next universe, and the next universe, and the next... And it's like, they just take them down to absolute nothing. It's like, they build them up, and they get all this menace, and then just a flip of the switch, and something later, and every one of them is blowing up, and... It really, really removes the whole menace when they constantly are so close to winning, and it's like a house of cards. You pull one card up and the whole thing topples down, and I didn't like that. So regardless as to what they look like, even if they look like giant oversized IKEA Daleks, as long as they're actually a constant threat, I don't care what they look like. They could have had fucking Mickey Mouse ears and could have been talking like, we're going to exterminate you! I don't care. As long as they're actually dangerous, that actually makes it more fun. Alright, maybe I wouldn't want that.
Well, I mean, I was bored with that episode, actually. I was kind of watching it and I'm like, okay, where is this going? And they're just kind of building it up, and you see the Doctor, and he's just kind of running around yelling about how much he hates them, and it's like, no, and he's trying to convince everyone that they're actually evil, and, they're like, oh no, they're working for our government, we're going to fight and win the war against the Nazis, and it was just going on, and I felt like the episode didn't really go anywhere for most of the time.
The problem with...
And it was like, I don't really care. I haven't been following Doctor Who. It's like, I know the basics about the Daleks because you've told me about them.
Yeah, the thing
but
is,
it's like
if you had been as invested, I mean, they're one of the Doctor's first villains. I mean, true villains. The very first episode, The Unearthly Child, and everything like that from 1963. They went to prehistoric Earth, and they had to get away from these prehistoric cavemen, and they finally wound up. By the time they got to the third story arc. It was the Daleks. And that was a biggie. and these characters were kind of a big deal. You know, so, I mean, knowing the history of the characters and going through everything in their subsequent generations, it was kind of an important deal with these characters, you know? I mean, from an outside perspective, yeah, it's just a bunch of giant rolling, you know, toys, just, you know...
Well, I mean, there was just no threat, there was no menace, there was just nothing to the story, because it's like, I don't know the Daleks, here they are,
here's
and
the
it's
thing.
kind of like, okay, you just see that the Doctor hates them.
That
was the point of the story. It's like, okay, all you know is the Doctor hates them.
You didn't understand what... It wasn't that there was immediate menace, except for the fact that if they get away, the menace becomes great.
Yeah.
There's no immediate menace because they haven't gotten away to actually start doing what they're doing. The second they get away, the first things that they're going to do is start replicating more of themselves, form armies. And the fact that these Daleks, you know, were able to bluff their way away was what was dangerous about it. The biggest issues that I had was that whole stupid human bomb guy robot.
Oh,
thing.
yeah. No,
And
I had an issue with that, too.
Basically giving this robot a hard-on because of some girl that he was programmed to remember turns off the bomb in his chest.
Yeah, you're kind of watching that and you're like, okay, well, we know where this is going.
It was silly.
I mean, you knew what was going to happen.
I would have.
It was nothing new.
I would have much preferred the whole red wire, blue wire gag, where the Doctor is trying to figure out which wire to sonic screwdriver, and I would have much preferred that. Some of the other episodes I before that also, it's like they kind of started off good, went crappy, less crappy, better. It's like they're getting better and better with each subsequent story.
Like the first episode, what was it? That was Visitor Zero?
That was
or something. Prisoner Zero.
That was called The 11th Hour.
Yeah, that one, I mean, it was kind of interesting. I kind of liked the concept, but even that was kind of stupid. I didn't like the whole idea of, Prisoner Zero being this guy with this dog and the guy's barking.
Well, the thing is, it's not a guy.
Well, yeah,
it's not a guy at all. I mean,
yeah, I know. It was forming from their minds or memories.
Yeah,
or
it was
dream
using
but
coma
it still
patients.
looked stupid.
Well,
and corny.
It wasn't the point because that alien wasn't what the danger was. It was the beings that were looking for that alien that was the danger.
Yeah.
If anything, I had a problem with is that basically the aliens that were looking for Prisoner Zero were basically flying around with giant crystal spaceships that weren't even really that big, that had a big giant eyeball underneath it. I'm sorry, the big giant eyeball thing is very Big Brother-ish, but it's also a corny cliche that's been overused a lot of times. I didn't find that great. I just enjoyed the whole idea of he's basically got nothing. Not even the sonic screwdriver, he doesn't have the TARDIS, he has nothing but his wits and about 20 minutes to save the Earth. It was like MacGyver, only on a universal scale, in such a degree that it even encompasses time travel. It's like literally like Doctor Who MacGyver.